TV40 is the one for all.
Making friends and sharing feelings whenever it counts, we'll always be there.
Got the coast and country, got the sun and sea, and we're proud to be part of the community. For all the ways you're growing, reaching out and standing tall. For all the things worth knowing, TV40's the one for all. For all the times together, for moments you'll recall. For always and forever, we're the one for all. TV40's the one for all.
Good evening, and welcome to GameCenter 40 for Friday, January 24th, 2020. I promised my viewers on the previous broadcast that I would cover the nominations for the DICE Awards. And ladies and gentlemen, that is what I intend to do tonight. So before we tell everyone at home who the DICE Award nominees are, let's talk about renovations. Although it may not look like it, the area in which I am conducting this broadcast has moved, though still in the same exact room. You could say it made it 180 degrees around. And it was getting a little cramped the way it was last week before everything got moved around here, there, and everywhere. But I would like to say that if you come to this stream, thank you for joining in and tuning in and watching. Now, there are 21 categories in the DICE Awards, and we have to get through all 21 in this very broadcast. Now, a lot of these titles are completely unfamiliar to me, but we're going to start off with the first category, which is It's Game of the Year. And for each of these categories, there are 5 nominees. Thanks for letting me know you're here. I do appreciate it. Now, let's get the big one out of the way, which is Game of the Year. The 5 nominees are Death Stranding by Kojima Productions and Sony Interactive Entertainment, of which we've all heard of. Control by Remedy Entertainment / 505 Games. All 3 I do not recall. Disco Elysium by ZA/UM. Again, that's something I'm completely unfamiliar with. Untitled Goose Game by House, and Panic. And I've heard a lot of memes based on this. So, it was definitely on my radar, but I never played it. And Outer Wilds by Mobius Digital and Annapurna Interactive. Once again, this is a game that has not only not been on my radar, this is actually the first I'm reading/hearing of it. The next category is Outstanding Achievement for an Independent Game. The nominees are A Short Hike by Adam Robinson Yu, Disco Elysium by ZAUM, Sayonara Wild Hearts by Simogo and Annapurna Interactive, Untitled Goose Game by House and Panic, and What the Golf by Triband and the Label, followed by the word Fig. The third category is Outstanding Achievement in Animation, which is completely unlike the Best Anime category from the Crunchyroll Awards, which I do believe they still haven't picked a winner in any category, but we'll get there when we get there. The nominees for the Outstanding Achievement in Animation are Death Stranding by Kojima Productions and Sony Interactive Entertainment, Days Gone by C-Bend Studio. Am I reading that right? C-Bend Studio. And Sony Interactive Entertainment. So that's what the C means. The C for Sony Interactive Entertainment. Devil May Cry 5 by Capcom. Hey, Devil May Cry, but Devil will die. Luigi's Mansion 3 by Next Level Games and Nintendo, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare by Infinity Ward and Activision. Hey, I guess the next game is going to be called Call of Duty World of Warcraft or something. Speaking of which, guess who else is a nominee in the next category? Outstanding Achievement in Art Direction. Who to guess? Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, Modern Warfare by Infinity Ward and Activision. Actually, strike out the World of Warcraft part of the title because it's just Call of Duty, Modern Warfare. The other nominees are Concrete Genie by Pixelopus and Sony Interactive Entertainment, Control by Remedy Entertainment and 505 Games. Once again as a nominee, Death Stranding by Kojima Productions and Sony Interactive Entertainment, and the Resident Evil 2 remake by Capcom. That's 1, 2, 3 nominations on Death Stranding. That's pretty amazing. Just goes to show you how prolific a game creator that Kojima can be. Outstanding Achievement in Character, Jesse Faden from Control by Remedy Entertainment 505 Games, Cliff Unger of Death Stranding, which was produced by Kojima Productions and Sony Interactive Entertainment, Grease, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order by Respawn Entertainment and EA, Sam Porter Bridges, also from Death Stranding, and The Goose from the Untitled Goose Game by House and Panic. Outstanding Achievement in Game Design, this is the 6th category. The Outstanding Achievement in Game Design's nominees are Baba Is You by Hempuli Oi, Disco Elysium by ZAUM, Outer Wilds by Mobius Digital and Annapurna Interactive, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice from Software and Activision. Literally, that first company right there is called From Software. And Slay the Spire by Mega Crit Games and the Humble Bundle. Before we take a break, we gotta get through Outstanding Achievement in Game Direction. The nominees for that category are A Short Hike by Adam Robinson Yu, Control by Remedy Entertainment and 505 Games, Disco Elysium by ZA/UM, Outer Wilds by Mobius Digital and Annapurna Interactive, and The Untitled Goose Game, which is its third nomination, by House and Panic. Now when we come back, we're going to cover the next 9, and then we're going to be with the weather. Please stay with us. We got some breaking news coming into the GameCenter 40 studios by way of some Discord servers. Recently, people have been receiving messages from... I'm sorry, I'll have to drag it over to the front screen. Recently, people have been receiving messages from Discord accounts filled with blank messages, and when they open it, their Discord crashes. They have their authentication tokens stolen and their passwords changed, even if you have two-factor authentication. And then receiving an email from a person called CryptoDeath saying that they can have their account back for 30 euro in Bitcoin. Once your account is stolen by the ransomware, your account will be used to send messages to all the contacts, further hijacking accounts. It says, do not open messages from a new Discord account you don't know, and be careful when opening DMs from even your friends. It is said that there is no defense against this exploit, and you will have to be extremely cautious until Discord fixes this error. Alright, and now we go back to the DICE Awards. Now we have 2, 4, 6. We went through 7. Alright, here is the 8th category. Outstanding achievement in the original music composition. We have Arise, A Simple Story by Piccolo Studio and Techland Publishing. Control by Remedy Entertainment and 505 Games. Erica by Flavorworks and Sony Interactive Entertainment. Golem by Highwire Games. And Mortal Kombat 11 from NetherRealm Studios and Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment. Now for Outstanding Achievement in Sound Design. Call of Duty Modern Warfare by Infinity Ward and Activision. Death Stranding by Kojima Productions and Sony Interactive Entertainment. Mortal Kombat 11 by NetherRealm Studios and Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment. Resident Evil 2's remake by Capcom, and Sayonara Wild Hearts by Simogo and Annapurna Interactive. Nominees for Outstanding Achievement in Story is Disco Elysium by ZA and UM, Control by Remedy Entertainment and 505 Games, Telling Lies by Sam Barlow and Annapurna Interactive, The Outer Worlds by Obsidian Entertainment and Private Division, and Outer Wilds by Mobius Digital and Annapurna Interactive. Outstanding Technical Achievement nominees are Death Stranding, Control, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Concrete Game by Pixelopus and Sony Interactive Entertainment, and Metro Exodus by 4A Games and Deep Silver. Action Game of the Year nominees are Control, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, Devil May Cry 5, and Gears 5 from the Coalition and Xbox Game Studios. Nominees for Adventure Game of the Year are Death Stranding, Luigi's Mansion 3, Resident Evil 2, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening for the Nintendo Switch. Family Game of the Year nominees are A Short Hike, Dragon Quest Builders 2, Ring Fit Adventure, Super Mario Maker 2, and Yoshi's Crafted World. Fighting Game of the Year, the 4 nominees are Dead or Alive 6 by Team Ninja and Koei Tecmo Games, Jump Force by Spike Chunsoft and Bandai Namco Entertainment America, Mortal Kombat 11, and Samurai Showdown by SNK Corporation. Racing Game of the Year, the nominees are Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled by Beenox and Activision, Dirt Rally 2.0 by Codemasters, F1 2019 also by Codemasters, Mario Kart Tour by Nintendo, and Trials Rising by Red Lynx, Ubisoft Kiev, and Ubisoft. Nominees for Role-Playing Game of the Year are Disco Elysium by ZAUM, Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers by Square Enix, Kingdom Hearts 3 by Square Enix, Pokemon Sword and Shield by Game Freak, Nintendo, and the Pokemon Company, and The Outer Worlds by Obsidian Entertainment and Private Division. And now, a category that EA is mostly flooding. Sports Game of the Year. And the nominees are FIFA 20, Madden NFL 20, MLB The Show 19, NBA 2K 20, and NHL 20. And the nominees for Strategy Simulation Game of the Year are Anno 1800 by Ubisoft Blue Byte, Fire Emblem, Three Houses by Nintendo, Intelligent Systems, and Koei Tecmo Games. Oxygen Not Included by Klei Entertainment, Slay the Spire by Megacrit Games and the Humble Bundle, and Total War 3 Kingdoms by the Creative Assembly of Sega. The next category is Portable Game of the Year. The nominees are Call of Duty Mobile by Timmy Studios and Activision. These are all mobile games. It's not for the 3DS or the Switch or any other game you may be any other console or handheld console you may be thinking of. Grindstone by Capybara Games, Sayonara Wild Hearts by Simogo and Annapurna Interactive, Sky, Children of the Light by That Game Company, and What the Golf by Triban / The Label and Fig. Immersive Reality Game of the Year. And it is interesting to see how virtual reality has come so far. I mean, almost 20 years ago, all you would have needed to experience it was something that could strain your eyes through red light, and now, well, here we are. But the nominees for Immersive Reality Game of the Year are Asgard's Wrath, Blood and Truth, Pistol Whip, The Curious Tale of the Stolen Pets, and Trover Saves the Universe. And these are mostly by independent people, so it's good on you. The last two categories are Immersive Reality Technical Achievement and Online Game of the Year. Immersive Reality Technical Achievements nominees are Asgard's Wrath, Blood and Truth, Pistol Whip, Stormland, and Westworld Awakening. With an interesting shout out to HBO. Don't know why they want to develop a game, but then again, they've developed things that were outside of their comfort zone before, like Last Week Tonight. And the final category, Online Game of the Year. This is it. This is where your content creators are forced to take money from these games just so they can promote them. I mean, these guys want to get their games out there, they have to do it through the YouTube content creators, and that's supposed to shoehorn them in. You see them in the beginning of every single one of their videos saying, as before we get to this video, this video is sponsored by such and such a game where, you know they've never really played it, but who's complaining? Oh yeah. But the nominees for Online Game of the Year are Apex Legends, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Destiny 2 Shadowkeep, Tetris 99, and Wargroove by Chucklefish. Now when we come back, we're going to have the weather, but first, here's something that we know you miss so much. And finally tonight, something we actually do in the middle of the program instead of at the end. We're gonna show you the weather, and let's take a look at Rehoboth Beach out there. It's looking pretty beautiful. Looking pretty beautiful. Anyways, let's take a look at tonight's weather. And looks like we'll be getting all that snow here in the Northeast, and something's going to be raining out Texas and East Oregon and Washington. The onslaught continues tomorrow with the rain and the snow, but it looks like Minnesota will be dodging a whole lot of it. That is, even through tomorrow night. We're going to be swamped with so much rain here in the Northeast, it isn't really even funny. So the high today in Dover was 50 degrees, the low will be 43, and currently it's about 47, 45 in the Dover and the suburbs. The barometer was 30.22 inches and falling, and humidity was 81%, and the winds are blowing to the east at 11 miles per hour. Tonight's weather, we'll be having late rain, low of 44. The record high for today was 65, made in 1999, and record low was 7 degrees, made a couple years later in 2005. Tomorrow, we'll still be getting a lot of rain, high 56, sunrise at 7:14 a.m. tomorrow, and the sun will set at 5:14. Here's your 7-day forecast. As you can see, we'll have rain on the 25th, and it's clearly nothing but sunshine out there for the rest of the month, all the way to the 31st. But that could change between now and Tuesday. Repeat after me. That could change between now and Tuesday. Anyways, I'd like to thank you all for coming to this stream. And we'll be having the gaming portion really soon. Have a great night. The YouTube side of the stream will terminate in 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.